what I envision for myself or for Zimbabweans really is for us to have a safe space to be creative, because in Zimbabwe I don't think creativity is really considered.
Hey guys, so this video is going to be different from my normal videos. It's not going to be a vlog, it's not going to be a skit or anything like that, because this is mainly like a brand deal. In my previous video I mentioned about being sponsored by this other person called rudomanyere, and today is her book launch. So yeah, so this video is like basically like the happenings of the book launch, like from start to finish. So yeah, that's what's happening tonight. So as of now, I'm in Oxford as I speak. I came from Hertfordshire. So let me just show you like it's sort of like a long montage of like how I got here. So yeah, let's go. Okay, that was an interesting montage. So yeah, without much further ado, let us go to the launch. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
A bit of housekeeping before we start. So our bathrooms are at the back. Ladies, it's to your left if you go through the doors, and then the gents, they're on your right. And we've got 2 fire exits. One is to my left and the other one is at the back. So before we start, I'm going to ask Carl, can you please give us an opening prayer, short one?
Lord, we thank you for this day. Thank you for this event, oh Lord. And as we do our things, oh Lord, thank you so much, and say, Father, take over and bless your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. So I want to welcome our author, Rudo, and Rumbidai, her editor and publisher. So they're just gonna come and sit here, and then we can start everything.
I think every time someone asks me who I am, I start with the story of, me coming back. But I actually was born in Chitungwiza, and then around the age of 9, I moved to Tinward North, and I attended Alfred Bate Primary School, and then Tinward High School from Form 1 to Upper 6. And I would say that's when my passion and my dream was actually came forth and chose me, if I'm to say. I think I'm quite bad at introducing myself, but I think that's the best I can come up with at the moment.
That's good. I think that's good enough.
Yeah, I won't lie. It was because you found me. You actually found me through Twitter, through blogs.
Yes, so I found you, via Twitter.
Yeah.
So I first knew of you as a book reviewer.
Yeah.
And you reviewed my books actually,
yes,
which was great. And then I got hooked onto your YouTube channel. And one day I was just watching a random video of yours on YouTube, and you mentioned that you were a writer and you were going through a writer's block, and you said where your writing was. And I was like, oh, okay, let me go and check it out. Let's go and see what she writes. And I was very pleasantly surprised to fall in love with Kuraone, because the first version of Kuraone, of course, and it was very wonderfully written, and I thought, right, we've got to have this in the anthology I was working on, Brilliance of Hope.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a really cool way of meeting, I think, and we'd already met, but it was a cool way of getting your writing out there. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Yeah. So I would say, from my own experience, being a Zimbabwean writer in the UK, I think having been found by a publisher was a very good idea, because if I were to go out and seek a publisher myself, I was never going to publish the book, because there was a lot of self-doubt. I did not.
Plus, there's a lot of competition as well.
Yes, there's a lot of competition. There are a lot of, especially now, there are a lot of African writers now who are actually coming up and publishing their work, and there's a lot of competition.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So, I think you've already answered my next question, which was, when did you know there was a budding author in you? So maybe let's go into the creative process. What's your creative process like?
So it's been a while since I've written. I think the last story I wrote was before COVID. So since COVID, I've not had the inspiration. But my writing process is, I always have to listen to Zimbabwean music. Right. I think there's that feeling of home. I can't really describe it, but there's just that sense of being familiar, and I like that because I think it helps me to see the Zimbabwe I knew before, because obviously now it's different. When I left Zim, we were still paying R5 for code, but no, that's not the case now. But I think listening to Zimbabwean music, it's really something which is very powerful, which is why I resonate to so many Zimbabweans now who are doing Zimbabwean music, because I grew up around the era of urban grooves. That's something that really calls to me. So I always have to listen to Zimbabwean music. That's a very good inspiration. And my writing process is, I'm trying to wean myself off, but I can only write when I go to the Waterstone Book Cafe.
Oh, wow.
There's just something about the place that makes me concentrate, but I'm trying to also be able to write in other places, but my brain just cannot.
Maybe it's the creative energy in all those
It
books
could be.
surrounding.
I think so. I think so, because that's literally the only place where I can write. I've tried writing at home, but it's just a lot going on. But as soon as I go there, I can write like a whole passage.
That's
I think,
amazing.
yeah, that's how I managed to do the editing, because if I had not gone there, I could not. My other thing when it comes to writing is I read. I read a lot, because if many don't know, I really didn't go to school for writing. I was taking online courses and a lot of reading. So if you want to be a good writer, if you don't have access to the creative writing programs, a lot of reading will help, because it will help you to find the kind of writing you like to write. Because I remember Toni Morrison also said something like, if you find a book that you like and the style of the writer, write that book by pen. Obviously I can do that, but she was saying that for you to get into that, for you to see your vision through that. So I did that a lot. When I started writing, I was reading a lot of African literature. So that kind of helped me to also write my own thing, but there was a lot of reading that went on. So yeah, Zimbabwean music, Waterstone, and a lot of reading. And a lot of my imagination are just
listening. How do you ensure that your work is of excellent quality?
I think have someone read your work. I think that's very important. Someone you trust. Of course, there's going to be criticism. There's going to be feedback. Some you won't like, some you will like. But I think at the end you have to look at it from a point of view of saying, okay, is this person saying this to build me, or is it coming from a place of not really?
Yeah.
But I think taking criticism is something very nice, and write what you want to read. I always say this because I think it's something which really pushed me, because when I started writing, I was so obsessed with Toni Morrison.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was so obsessed with Toni Morrison. So write the kind of stories you want to read, because I think that also brings your vision to reality. Absolutely. And read a lot of reading, especially like what I said, if you don't have access to go for creative writing, do a lot of reading, and take as many free courses, online classes as you can, because I think that's also what I had to my advantage. Thanks to my pastors, they actually introduced me to that. There was this writing program at church. So they were like, oh, you might like this, and then I joined it, and then I was like, yeah, that's actually a very good thing. So also having people who see your vision, who support it, and allow you to grow in that's also very important.
Yeah. So I like that.
I
I like that about you.
I think that was very lazy of me, because I was just like, well, this is Crown, this is Chipo, this is who.
Yeah.
But I think.
But those names and meanings.
I guess.
And they say a lot about the characters. They say a lot about our culture. Kuraoni.
Kuraoni, I think, is more intentional.
Yeah, Pamishana. I think all of them. Tamuka. These names and meanings.
Yeah, that's true.
If one stops to think about them, they'll learn a thing or two about our culture. So yeah, I think it was quite a creative way of
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't see it as a creative way because I was just stealing my friends and family's names, to be honest. Those are all my friends and family's names in the books because I was like, I can't think of any more Zimbabwean names. Because when you're writing, it's quite hard for you to now to come up with names.
Yeah.
Especially which was Zimbabwean because I didn't want anything too close. Especially when I was writing like Ramshan, I didn't want something like Mudiwa or Taliwa because they're quite modern in a way.
Yeah.
So I don't think they would have existed in like 1965. So there was also that kind of research which I had to go through to look at the names, what names were popular around that time, what names this and this.
Yeah.
But I was just stealing from my family names, trauma of his own experience. So I got as much as I could without me prying because I think it's a very sensitive,
absolutely,
it's a very sensitive issue. And I think I only realized when I was asking him questions about it. He was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to talk about that." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And obviously I was like, but why? Then I was thinking, you went through that.
Yeah.
You literally was
experience.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we don't think of our parents' traumas because we're just like, oh, they're parents, you know. But I think I had to tread lightly with him. So I was asking, so I was like, oh, so what about your life? How was it when he started? But even when he started telling me about his own life from a young age, he kind of skipped
Bits.
those bits.
The painful bits.
Exactly. So I was like, okay, so let me use my creativity to kind of see. But I took in what he told me, like the places, the names of the places, and the rules, like no black people after 6 p.m. and stuff. I took that from him. I took how, like the transport situation, I took it from him. And the IUD, I had to ask him obviously, and then I had to Google to see like what exactly was going with Ian Smith. Because I think for me, I just knew of Ian Smith, but I never really understood what exactly was going on. So I think there was also a lot of learning for me, for me to be able to write it, because you can't just write, people come for you. These days you can't just write something and then expect people, oh, it's fiction, you kind of have to have facts in there.
Yeah.
So I think I took as much as I could from my dad, and also, it was mostly my mom and my dad, because when I realized that it was very sensitive, I did not want to, pry too much into it. Yeah.
Question, because I wanted to ask about, so you said you write because your passion as well, but
Yes.
you also have this writing vision. Could you perhaps expand upon what you mean by that vision, and perhaps like, are you trying to get some change out there, or is there a driving force or an ambition that's a part of that vision? So what do you exactly envision for Zimbabweans and for the world?
Thank you so much for your question. So I think what I envision for myself, or for Zimbabweans really, is for us to have a safe space to be creative, because in Zimbabwe I don't think creativity is really considered. The arts, they are not something which is very considered. It's mostly academics, and after academics is sports. So the arts, they don't really have a place in Zimbabwe. So I'm trying to build something which accommodates that, like from a very young age, because I think when we're growing up, we're told, it's either lawyer, teacher, doctor, that's the goal from a very young age. But for those of us who are not able to fit into that, and we're not able to do sports, we felt lost for quite a while. Because, for example, in Zimbabwe, if you say, oh, you're a writer, people are like, a writer? What exactly, why are you writing? What do you get from it? It's not something which is very respected. So I want to bring awareness or create a safe space where people are able to, Zimbabweans from a very, very young age are able to, to dream and create their own stories, fiction, horror, whatever it is, without feeling like they're not doing anything substantial in their lives. So I think that's my vision for them to just have a place where it's safe, where they don't feel like less than, where you don't have to worry that what I'm doing is not purposeful, if that makes sense.
Well, I met Rudo on the way. We take the bus together in the mornings going to work, and that is where I met her.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you find the book launch?
Oh, the book launch was fantastic. Actually, the comments and Rudo has ability. She's a writer, and she must be encouraged to carry on writing. She must be aware that writing is a profession. how she got her story, how she got into writing, and given she juggles work as well is quite impressive. And again, how she links writing to music and music that reflects her culture, I find very interesting and impressive as well. And she can actually have snapshots of music of her childhood memories, bringing memories as to which support her writing. She also has commented on feedback given by people who read her book. I can see how she's having that anxiety from that, but she also took on board comments that was made that she has to it would be boring if everyone reading her books give the same comment or feedback. Giving those feedback actually gets her into matured writer, and I hope she does that, and to be this writer who could, yes, just like having different characters, writing different gender groups, writing about people in the West and people in the continent of Africa. So much so that is actually having to understand that the lenses of people are different. I also liked her ability to have this community space in writing, yes, and extending it into her native Zimbabwe and her imagination and dreams. And I hope those dreams become alive. Well, actually, she's really solidly she has created this footprint. She's got the footprint, which is a springboard for her to blossom.
Okay, so how do you know Rudo?
Okay, so my name is Samantha Rambidza-Ivajure, and I'm the founder of Canadian Heart Publishing, and we're the publishers who published Rudo's collection of short stories. Prior to publishing this book, I've worked with Rudo on a collection of an anthology of short stories by various Zimbabweans in the diaspora called Brilliance of Hope. I first came to know of Rudo as a book reviewer, and I was watching her YouTube channel one day when she mentioned that she was a writer and she was going through a writer's block, and she mentioned where her stories were. So I went and read her stories on her blog and fell in love with her writing. And one of the stories I read actually called a story called Kuraone ended up being in Brilliance of Hope, which is the anthology of stories I was working on. So we kind of come a long way, but yeah, it's been quite a journey.
Okay, yeah, that is true. So as of today, like you were the interviewer, like how was that experience of interviewing someone else?
It was beautiful because I don't think I've ever interviewed anyone before.
Really?
So it was quite lovely to be able to speak with another writer and to resonate with some of the the issues she was raising and the emotions involved in the writing process and the creative process. So it was a beautiful experience. Rude has actually interviewed me before as a reviewer. She interviewed me about my work, so it was nice to be able to interview her as well.
Okay, so are you a publicist?
Publisher.
Okay.
Yes.
So as a publisher, like where do you see Rudo, or where do you hope she will be in about 5 years?
Oh, I think she's a great writer, and I see her achieving a lot more than she has already done. She mentioned that she wants to go into, I think it's a movie production, and I wish her the best in that, and I think she can achieve that in the next 5 years.
Okay, so thank you very much for your time, and thank you for coming and making this day possible.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience being here.
That's all right.
Cheers.
Thank you. So yeah, how do you know Rudo?
Rudo is my best friend and my sister.
Okay, so
Yes.
as a manager, like how did you find today? Like how was the day for you?
I thought it went great. We sold out of books, which is very good, but don't worry, just because we've sold out of copies here doesn't mean that you can't order.
Okay.
The book is available for pre-order right now, and it is coming out on the 1st of August, so don't forget to get your copy too.
Okay, so if someone wants to buy the book, where can they get it?
They can get it on Amazon if they are in the UK. They can get it on what's that other place called? Yeah, that one.
That one, exactly.
That one.
No problem. Okay, so
But
thank
yeah,
you very
there's
much.
so many places where you can actually get the book.
Yeah.
I've got baby brain at the moment, so
Understandable.
you can forgive me for forgetting the name.
It has been a long day.
Yeah, and it's been a long day. But definitely get your copy. If you don't know where to get your copy from, just ask, get in those DMs, we'll be happy to help. And also, right now we're currently seeing whether we can even get books in China. So if you're in a country where you think the book is not available, ask us, because we may be able to get the copy to you as well.
Okay, no problem. So thank you very much for your time and have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.